Just a couple more saws on the bottom here. We have the ported Farmer Tech 660 kit saw that we just went back through and put the pop up in. That saw pulls like a freight train, and whatever kind of wood you want to set it in, I took it and cut a bunch of stumps down with it. Doesn't matter what it is, oak, hickory, it just pulls and pulls. I have no idea how long it'll last. Some guys say they've beat the hell out of them for a long time and they're just fine, but we milled with that saw and kind of beat it to death with ourselves, and it seems to still be doing just fine. Behind it is the 880 kit saw we done. That thing's gonna need a different coil on it. I just can't stand the limiter. We took it and fell a big hemlock. It was probably 3 feet at the stump, and it wasn't dead. It was a good sound tree, and that big 404 chain on that thing, I think it's a 30 or 32 inch bar we put on that, full house, chisel bit, really aggressive. That thing was in the limiter all the way through the back cut on that tree, so I'm assuming when I put it in a mill, it's probably going to do the same thing, so we'll end up having to change the coil on that eventually. Next shelf, we've got, this is the 1010. We put the 700 jug and oil tank assembly in. Kind of went back into that one. I wish I hadn't. I think it runs worse now than it did before, but I won't know till I get it out and field test it some. We kind of pulled a little more metal in the exhaust port than I ever would have wanted to, and by the time I got it cleaned up and fixed, the exhaust timing ended up being freaking horrible on it, but still starts easy and seems to run good, but I don't know. We won't know till we get it out and field test it some. Super Pro 80, that saw just needs a massive makeover. I've got some parts for it already, but that one will be a project, once we get some other newer saws done, I guess. I'm kind of burned on Max right now, to be honest with you. The 81, that saw really doesn't need much. I'm going to convert it over to electronic ignition and probably leave it alone for a while. Just a really nice saw, and I kind of want to keep it that way. Next shelf, little 192 TC, and these are saws I just kind of keep barred up and ready to go. You guys have seen that in plenty of videos by now. Little Husqvarna 340, I've got a video showing before and after port work on that. Your saw picked up a lot. It's a great go-to beater saw. Just leave a 16-inch bar and chain set up on it. If you're building something or need to take a saw out in the woods on a four-wheeler, works really well, and you can even run over it with your four-wheeler and about cause an accident, and it'll still be fine afterwards. Ask me how I know. The 455 Rancher, it's bone stock. We're going to do something with that eventually. I've had a couple little videos on it, but it'll be later on down the road. Homelight Super XL. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Saw's so nice, it just looks good sitting there as is. We may or may not tear it down and port it. It seems there's some decent, results from doing a mild woods port on them, but, it's just not something I plan on taking out a lot anyway, but we'll just have to see what time tells. This is one of the 2 junked Mac 1010s we bought a couple months back. It's been rebuilt, ported, made a really, really strong work saw. Actually done really good on that one. I've got several videos on it. Then the last one on this shelf, unless you want to see some milling rails up top, the little 1010 hot rod, hot saw, whatever it was we called it. Again, the title of that video was just all in fun. Sure somebody has a 1010 out there that'll eat it alive. If you do, I'm happy for you. Share what you done. I've shown all the port work on all of these. I kind of kept the numbers and what I used on the transfers kind of hush-hush and on the intake because, if you don't do exactly what I've done on this and you try to use the numbers I used, you're probably going to be able to take a stock saw and outcut it. It just is what it is. This one we mixed and matched some pistons and cylinders and came up with one that had really tight squish for a Mack. So, it all ended up working. I'll just tell you, as an exhaust opening sitting dead on 100 degrees, we did move the intake timing just a little, like a degree or two, and it has a lot of dang transfer work. I'd actually have to have the jug back off to explain it all, and the timing was changed on those significantly. And the saw has 27 thousandths squish, and a lot of that was just trying different pistons in it we had laying here, and it is what I came up with. But anyway, with that said, just thought I'd share a few more of these saws with you guys. Y'all have a good one.